Welcome to the debate of the week, ladies and gentlemen. This is about Finn Balor. Look, ladies and gentlemen, I know a lot of people love Finn. And I've seen Finn. I saw him on NXT. I saw him on Raw. Is he a good talent? As it stands, he's a good talent for his size. And here's the thing that I want to make very clear. I'm not against small wrestlers. I'm not. I see it in this respect. And I want people to understand this. I don't just see people for what they are. I also see the promotion for what it is. If the WWE is how they used to be back in the late 80s, early 90s, they would have a category for everyone. They would have a category for the lightweights, the midweights, and the heavyweights and super heavyweight wrestlers. You would have sometimes a lightweight wrestler, similar to a Finn Balor, go up against a Yokozuna. You would have a Yokozuna go up against a guy who's kind of like Brock Lesnar. You would have a guy like Brock Lesnar go up against a Owen Hart or Bret Hart. They used to sometimes, not every single time, sometimes mix and match the best from each level to do something different. But as it stands right now, the WWE, where the fans truly want lightweight wrestlers, or at least heavy or midweight wrestlers that they care about, we have not gotten good wrestling. We have gotten bad wrestling for more than a decade and a half. Since the early 2000s, we have been getting really bad wrestling. You look at John Cena. I'm not against John. I'm not against Randy Orton. I'm not against Batista or Edge. Those are the guys they went with for many years. And they went from the gamut. You got a small to medium guy in the Edge. You got a big guy in a Batista. You had also in a mid-range a Randy Orton. And through all that, you had something that was flexible. But as it stands now, where the fans care more about lightweight wrestlers, and the WWE still cares more about heavyweight wrestling, because that's how they always did it. They cared that the heavyweight championship went to a heavyweight or super heavyweight guy. And now people want to have a super heavyweight belt around the waist of a lightweight. It makes things obscene, ridiculous. Now, if anyone has seen the Off the Road Show Central and the Slug Daddy's video, where he said, you want Brock Lesnar against Finn Balor, it's stupid. I have to agree with him in the respect that you're not to always, how can I say this? Having wrestlers of different classes face one another, it's alright in certain circumstances. Now, I'm not saying that the Slug Daddy's wrong. He is right in many ways. You don't always keep putting lightweights with heavyweights every single time. The minute you do that, what made wrestling interesting goes out the window. Because as much as the fans want it the way it is, notoriously and historically, wrestling had different classes, like in real boxing or real wrestling. You had lightweight classes, you had the middleweight class, you had the heavyweight class, and you had the super heavyweight classes. Pretty well, light, medium, and heavyweight. Let's be honest. That is how notoriously amateur wrestling and also professional wrestling worked. And to be honest, it is an actual working product that way. When you have various different classes of wrestling, you can have midget wrestling on the same show as heavy wrestlers like Yokozuna. Like what's going on with Bray Wyatt facing Finn Balor. You could have people like the Big Show facing a Braun Strowman. You could have just like a Finn Balor going up against a Daniel Bryan. You always had different classes of wrestler. The super lightweights and the midgets. The lightweights, which is Daniel Bryan and Finn Balor. The midweights, which like a John Cena, Randy Orton, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns in a certain sense, because he would be considered a mid-range class. Then you have the heavyweight classes, Yokozuna, Brock Lesnar, the Big Show, Braun Strowman. You can even put Kaz into that, Diesel into that. Those are the big heavyweight to super heavyweight guys. There was always a class and always something different for everyone. But since now the wrestling world and the fans want only lightweight class wrestlers, the majority of the time, it ruins the product. And I'm saying this very truthfully. I don't mind lightweight wrestlers. I don't mind mid-range wrestlers. I don't mind heavyweight wrestlers to be able to go after the main title if, one, they've been packaged right, two, if there's a story behind it, three, that they don't just go for the same thing every single time. There's places for them to go. They can go back to the lightweight range, like the U.S. title or maybe the cruiserweight title. They can go to the U.S. title, the IC title, or the heavyweight title, or the universal title. They got to be able to move from one place to another, up and down the card. And the WWE has been stupid enough not to allow that. And now, because Finn Balor was given the chance to have the universal title, people say he's the best to go up against Brock Lesnar. He's not. Look. You've already had Brock Lesnar, who is a heavy to super heavyweight, go up against John Cena, who's a middleweight. I'm sorry, he is. He's light compared to Brock Lesnar. He's never been beyond 270, 280. He's been a buck 250, like $2.50. 250. And Brock Lesnar's near 300 pounds. So he's been going after middleweights for quite a while. He has gone after heavyweights as well. He didn't get a chance to go up against basically saying Daniel Bryan is hard because he got hurt. You'll never see it happen as long as both of them are in the same promotion, which they don't let that happen. They don't want Daniel Bryan's neck to get totally screwed up, and they will be liable for it. So he'll never wrestle again as long as he's with the WWE. Maybe TNA will do it, but as it stands for the WWE, he will never do it. Well, Impact Wrestling, sorry, I said TNA. But as it stands, you will never see Brock Lesnar against Daniel Bryan. You're never going to see it. Now, Daniel Bryan was able to do something very rare that has not been seen for several decades. Not since Owen Hart, not since Bret Hart, not since Shawn Michaels. That a light to a middleweight class wrestler, basically middleweight, went to the heavyweight title. Went there and had enough charisma to do it. And saying that Daniel Bryan's a middleweight is kind of stretching it because he's not even more than 220, 230. He never reached the 250 where the middleweight class is in professional wrestling. But he managed to transcend that. And the crowd loved it. And to a certain extent, the WWE was able to benefit from it, having a bit of an increase in their sales, a bit increase in their market value. And the fan base was happy. But when it comes to Finn Balor, I do not see that happening with him. I'm sorry, I can't. I cannot say with all honesty that you can honestly say that Finn Balor can be the next Daniel Bryan. He just isn't. He's lighter than Daniel Bryan. He's not as over as Daniel Bryan. Counting on where he goes after SmackDown airs is going to be the question. If he goes to SmackDown, he could easily get the, counting if the Universal, well, it's not going to be the Universal title, it's going to be the WWE Heavyweight title, if they're crazy enough to let him go there, because he's lighter than AJ Styles is. AJ Styles is about 230, 240, roughly around that weight, as far as I understand. He's not that light of a wrestler. He's nearly 240 pounds. So he's a middleweight class wrestler. How heavy is Finn Balor? 190? 200? He is a cruiserweight type of wrestler. He's not a Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was lighter than anyone that had been on the roster since the time of Hornswoggle. He was heavier than Hornswoggle. But he was lighter than the lightest person like a Matt Hardy, who was at 210, 220 at one point when he went for the Cruiserweight title. A Brian Kendricks, he's at least lighter than him. I don't see Finn Balor taking a spot similar to Daniel Bryan. I just don't see it. Unless they build him over several years. If they try to rush him in this year to try and get the World Heavyweight title, it is the most stupidest and travesty of justice. That title could go to a person like a Baron Corbin, if you're going to go there. That title can go easily to someone else. Why would you give that to a Finn Balor? I just don't see why. It's dumb. You can give an Apollo Crews who is heavier than him. If his character is fixed, it would be better that way. If you're going to be honest, you could give it to a Kalisto over Finn Balor. You know why? Because Kalisto has been basically on the roster longer. Who has had more known fame on the WWE roster than the Finn Balor has in NXT. And I'm not knocking NXT. I'm just being truthful. We're talking about the main roster, not just NXT. If you actually believe that Finn Balor should go after Brock Lesnar, or anyone who's holding that title for that matter, if he could go after the title, you really need to reevaluate yourself, because you can't have a lightweight going up against a heavyweight who, one, is way too light, two, whose character development is still not there, three, rushing him before he really can get traction in not just the heavyweight class, but all the other classes. He needs to have some feuds. He needs to go after the IC title. He needs to go after the US title. He needs to show proof that he can actually do it. Because he didn't do anything. As much as people want to say, oh yes he did. No, he didn't. What the heck did he do? What did Finn Balor do between the time that he got onto the main roster till he won the damn title? What did he do? Nothing. It was barely a couple of months that he got the chance to grab the title. And then he got hurt. Now, I do blame Seth Rollins for that, throwing him and then tearing his shoulder. But in the end, even if he hadn't torn his shoulder, how far do you think it would be for Finn Balor? I just don't see it. Not because he couldn't do it, it's because since the WWE is rushing everyone, you can't. Like I said with Roman Reigns, he would be fine in 2 to 4 years. Just like Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, they would be fine in 2 to 4 years. Now, if you're going to rush a Finn Balor to go into the World Heavyweight title before 2 or 4 years on the main roster, at least 4 to 5 years on the main roster, not 2 or 4, 5 years on the main roster, it's a joke. And you want it to be a joke. And I'm not knocking any fan, but you want a joke on the WWE because you don't want to really see the company succeed. You don't want to see Finn Balor succeed. Look at Daniel Bryan. He started in 2010, and then he had to finally retire by 2013 to 14, and then he came back. Within that short amount of time, he did manage to get the fame he deserved. Because they realized if you package him right, if you give him proper feuds, and you give him enough time to marinate with the fans, he would get over. You don't got that with Finn Balor. And I know I just repeated myself in a sense, but I'm making it very clear to everybody. I do not see Finn Balor going up against Brock Lesnar, and I don't see Finn Balor going up against Randy Orton. I don't. I don't see him going up against either one of them for at least a good 2 years. He should not go after the heavyweight titles on either brand. He should go after the IC title. He should go after the US title. And he should go after the Cruiserweight title. He should have some feuds. He should develop his character of Finn Balor. And then if he's really over after that, then you give him a shot at one of the titles. And that's if, while he's challenging before he wins, that he moves the merch and brings the people into the seats. If he doesn't do that, it's a joke. But this is just my point of view. I hope you enjoyed this debate of the week. Please give me a comment below. As I said in my Raw Review Mini, I have to go and see my family. Tomorrow, this is being done Monday. I will be going to see them Tuesday afternoon. I don't know if I'll be able to see SmackDown in time to actually do what I need to do. But I might actually do a overview of SmackDown if I got a chance to see it. I might do it the next day or maybe that night if I can be able to see the pre-recordings, the post-recordings that are done. Have a good day. Have a good night.